Okay, welcome back to the channel, everybody, on this beautiful spring sunny day in England. And today's topic is UK police force, which has got a lot of history to it. The principles of what they do hasn't really changed, but the environment that they are working in has changed a lot. So let's get into it. And the kind of earliest history for the police force in the UK is 1611 with the High Constables of Edinburgh. And this was made up of local merchants and craftsmen who came together to enforce 16 regulations based around theft, curfews, and weapons. And it was kind of an agreement that was bred because stuff kept getting stolen, weapons were being used for crimes, and so they came up with the idea of a kind of self-policing system that worked in the community. Then we can move on to 1749, where the Bow Street Runners were created around London on the same basis, really. And that was kind of Britain's first dedicated police force. And then as you start to move down the line of the police forces, the Industrial Revolution created a huge increase in the populations of the UK. And so there was a big demand for more law and order. And as a side note, I think it's important to recognise that our population now is going up a lot. And so there'll be an increased need for law and order. But anyway, moving on back onto our storyline. And so you start to get the beginnings of the Met Police Service. And afternoon. I think it's important to say that the Met Police are a big part of police in the UK. A big part. And so what happened was Sir Robert Peel, who was the then Home Secretary before he became Prime Minister, he commissioned the idea of the Metropolitan Police Service, and it was given royal assent in 1829. That is the Met Police Act that basically led to the formation. And so then after the formation, Sir Robert Peel realised that they needed to have a set of principles around policing, because they wanted the people of the country to kind of understand that the police force were there not under government repression. So they're not there to kind of control people, but there to enact law and order, and to be a part of the people and to serve the people. So by 1900, bearing in mind that the population has been increasing the whole time, there were 46,800 policemen amongst 243 constabularies. So it had grown an awful lot. And so over time, the acts were streamlined. Police numbers were police constabularies were reduced. They kind of grew and got to a point where they then started to get reduced, streamlined to work more effectively, save costs. And then you kind of get up to a kind of idea of how policing looks now. So in the modern day, policing has evolved because of the nature in which they work. And when you take, for example, online, with the internet, things have changed massively there, just in that landscape. Not to mention, obviously, the difference in weapons that we now see. And so you can break it down into 4 kind of key areas that the police work in, and that is arrest, search, detention, and fines. And that's kind of the basic areas of what the police in control, what they look after. How are we doing? All right. And so the crime rates have gone up. So police have had to adapt to how they manage what they do. Pure and simply law and order. And certainly in more modern times, communities have broken apart, I think, with population increase. Therefore, housing has increased and areas have got bigger. Villages have become towns, towns become cities, new cities are born. And so the game has changed. And we've got, you don't hear much of it these days, Neighbourhood Watch. Neighbourhood Watch was kind of bred for the communities to kind of take control of their own, alleviate the pressures on the police, and to build a closer relationship between the police and the communities. And I think if you look back, not that long ago really, within the last 100 years, you did have policemen who were considered a part of the community, and everybody knew their local policeman. And so that respect was there. And I think respect is a big, big word in policing. And unfortunately, something that has disappeared. But there are 2 sides to that coin. I think police groups have tried too hard to appeal to all walks of society. Again, in search of perhaps respect. But going back to, how things have changed, like with online, how they have to deal with online now, online abuse, drones, for instance. People use drones to commit crimes of different types, and police forces now have their own drone units. But essentially, the arrest, search, detention, and fines stay the same. I think how we view the police has changed, because you take, for example, your car gets broken into outside your house overnight. You want the police to be there at the drop of a beat. You want them to investigate it. You want forensics to take fingerprints and see if it's a match for somebody locally. You want it sorted. But if you get pulled over for speeding, there's a total disregard for the police, and you don't particularly want them there. But you see, I think for the public, it has to go both ways. We have to respect the police, but they also have to earn them respect. And I think there is a mismatch there now these days, which is really, really sad. So I think we kind of need to bring policing up to modern day needs and requirements. We need to get respect. And I think inevitably we're going to need more police officers as the population is growing and crime rates are unfortunately high. And clearly we have a serious knife crime problem in cities, not just cities, in other places as well, but it is prominent in cities, that we really need to get a hold of. So I think respect needs to come back. That is the key objective, or should be the key objective for the police, is to regain the trust and respect of communities and to integrate better. I mean, a police officer is just one of us. He goes home to his family just the same as we do. Lives in a house. He is one of us, and or she. They are just normal people, police officers, and they get seriously abused. And it's not really them, is it? They're just doing a job. And so I would like to see that respect brought back personally in policing, which I think is vital. That just isn't there. And you look at some of the videos that circulate, and it's just an absolute horror show. And to adapt, really. I mean, something that I'm really keen on is what the Australians call RBTs, which are random breath tests, and the police will just pick a point where they will target, and they will just stop people in the road as they're driving past. Quick breath test, on you go. Because purely and simply, you shouldn't be behind the wheel if you're having a few drinks or you're doing drugs. It's just as simple as that, because you're a danger, and it's not something that should be taken lightheartedly, because there are too many deaths on the road, unnecessary, including young children. I know where I live a few years ago, a young girl was killed, hit by a car. She was I don't know, probably like year 6, something like that, and she died of the head injury. I don't know the circumstances around the driver, but so random breath tests, and the respect, and well, that's about it, really. Let me know what you think about the policing in the UK. Do you think they have the respect? Do you think they are community based now? Do you know the name of your local police officer? Do you see police officers out and about on the roads? Maybe, but walking around, if you walk into town, maybe that's what we need again. Maybe we need that community, that local policing, and the trust and respect that comes with knowing the person. And yeah, I'm going to leave it there this week. Thanks for watching, and catch you on the next one.